are considering a world-class acoustic guitar, if you have finally got the money and the wherewithal and the courage to really drop top dollar on a guitar, is it a waste of money to buy Mahogany back and sides? So let's talk about it. I'm Jeremy, this guitar hunter, and this is a Boucher, a beautiful handmade guitar from our fans in Canada. This is an SG-41-GM. That is the Studio Goose 41, and I'm going to pull up some notes back here. This is a Brazilian Mahogany back and sides OM from our friends in Canada. Before we get into it, make sure you're subscribed. There's like 89% of you that watch these videos that still are not subscribed. So, I'm Jeremy, this guitar hunter. You have no excuse. Let's get into this thing. I have a very special place in my heart for Boucher guitars. I got to spend a chunk of time last summer with Robin Boucher himself, and I got to hear him tap these tops, tap these back and sides, and so I love these guitars. Let's talk about this guitar in particular, what this thing is. This is an OM from Boucher. This features a 5A Adirondack spruce top that is torrefied. You can tell by that deep roasty color. This is a torrefied Adirondack spruce top, abalone rosette. Their beautiful pick guard, their bridge is probably one of my favorite things they put on their guitars. It feels like a living thing. Like this was just found in nature and they took the bark off of it and it is just that shape. It is so perfectly sculpted. It's such a subtle little detail that I love on every single one of these Bouchers that I've played. Ebony bridge, ebony fingerboard, beautiful Boucher headstock there. It must be so hard to figure out how to come up with a headstock that is interesting. This guitar also has the gold pack and the master pack. So let's talk about these real quick. The gold pack and the master pack. Gold tuners is part of the gold pack. The master pack is that you get a top that is hand checked, hand tapped by Robin Boucher. I've seen him do this. There is a real thing happening. There is a magical quality to Adirondack spruce. Not all of it is the same, and some of it you get to just beautifully straight, uniform, wonderful sounding Adirondack spruce that is then torrefied to bring out all of the life and the vitality that this wood has to it. Now, torrefaction is the process of making guitars sound older, more airy. The way that this happens, you raise the temperature in a vacuum. The wood can't burn, but it does rupture the cell structure and make the wood do what it would naturally do over a 30, 40, 50 year process. So the guitars come out incredibly light, and it's always remarkable to me. These guitars are also incredibly resonant. This guitar features forward shifted X bracing. That helps get the bracing out of the way so that you have a bigger, more resonant area back here behind the bridge. Like a drum, you get to place all of the energy into the top of the guitar, and it will come out, it will resonate through the top, come out the sound hole. This video is being sponsored by Boucher Guitars and by the dealer that this guitar is headed to. This guitar is headed to Tallman Instruments, and so I want to thank Richard, I want to thank Tallman Instruments, and I'm always thankful that I get to intercept these for just a few moments before they end up going to their final buyers. If you want to buy this guitar, this one will show up within a couple days. Probably by the time this video comes up, this guitar will be there, and usually they sell very, very quickly. So if you're interested in this insanely beautiful, it's so resonant, I can feel it buzzing and humming just with the resonance of my voice. Thanks to Tallman Instruments, thanks to Richard, and thanks to Boucher for making all of this happen. There is an age-old debate that our forefathers have borne before us, and our children and grandchildren will argue amongst themselves. But I think I'm right, and I think most everybody else is wrong. Let's jump in with that. There is this debate that mahogany is an inferior tone wood. It costs less, it is less beautiful, and therefore rosewood must inherently be better because Tony Rice played rosewood. But here's the thing. Mahogany is a beautiful tone wood. It both looks beautiful, but it also has an iconic and classic guitar tone. To me, when you look at the EQ, especially on a graphic EQ when you record an acoustic guitar, a big rosewood dreadnought in particular. Rosewood is typically identified with strong bass response, strong treble response, lots of overtones in the high frequencies, and then a little bit of a scoop or a cut in the mids. Now, mahogany tends to be pretty much the opposite. It is generally curved, a little more mids, but about the same volume for the bass and the treble response. To me, it's a much more approachable guitar tone, and it puts you less into the place of either having to really lay in with your right hand to get a lot of bass and low end out of the guitar, or to really jump out and take leads and solos. I'm not a lead player, and I think so for most people, mahogany is a much more gentle, much more approachable kind of tone wood. I also think that this Brazilian mahogany is absolutely stunning and beautiful to look at. I get it, it's not that dark, purpley, wonderful, swirly Indian rosewood, but I am a huge mahogany guitar fan. I own a Paget Model 1 that is mahogany back and sides. I own a Zondele 00018 that is mahogany back and sides. I own a Boxwood that is Synchro mahogany back and sides. I own a D18 Authentic 1937 from Martin that is mahogany back and sides. I own a 1957 Gibson Country Western that is, you got it, mahogany back and sides. I only own one rosewood guitar, and that is my Ferk Vintage 2 OM. That's the only rosewood back and sides guitar I have. So if you are wondering if mahogany is somehow inferior because it's a little more affordable or it is not a massive upcharge, you're wrong. Caution you against believing that rosewood is better because it's more expensive, and it's better because more celebrities have played it. I guarantee that every one of our guitar playing heroes has played a mahogany dreadnought or a mahogany guitar at some point or another. They are trusted, faithful, music-making friends, and that's why I'm so excited. This would be a guitar that I would happily own. So let's talk about this Studio Goose 41 with the gold and the Masters pack. This thing, what I like about this guitar. This guitar is, first of all, it's a Boucher. Bouchers are remarkable, incredible guitars that have never disappointed. Literally every one I have played has been better than the last. And this guitar, absolutely. No, I had another guitar come in from Boucher one time that was Brazilian mahogany on the back and sides. Wasn't my favorite. Wasn't my thing. That's the only one that I ever haven't, like, jaw-droppingly loved and wanted to check my bank account. But this OM is incredibly light. I really enjoy the weight and the balance to it. It's a pretty well-balanced guitar. It still has a little bit of body weight. But this guitar is maybe 4 pounds. It is so light. I really appreciate that they really leaned into the mahogany on the back and sides. Normally they get stained a more red color, a more amber color, and with this, it's just clear finish. And what's cool is it's about the same color if you look inside the sound hole to the back. Other things I really like about this guitar, it is alive. It is effervescent. It picks up like all of these little movements. It's just, this thing is alive. It is so responsive to how you play. This guitar, unlike other guitars, this guitar doesn't seem to compress or squish out. Sometimes guitars that are so lively, they have less headroom, so by the time you really dig into them, they're perfect for fingerstyle. But if you get big into dadgetty, strummy chords, they kind of squish out and they lose a lot of those mids, they lose a lot of the bass, and they just get kind of trebly. This guitar seems to have lots of headroom. I like so much about this guitar. Now this guitar is not without things that I am not as into. The gold pack isn't that appealing to me. I don't prefer gold hardware. I'm coming around, but overall, I think it's a little much. And so I would rather have like nickel or chrome tuners, and then I would also probably want to do white pins. Little aesthetic things. The pickguard to me, the Boucher, I don't love their pickguards, but that's just a stylistic thing. So I have such a short list of things that I don't like about this guitar, but I want to be honest with it. I also, different strokes for different folks, I really like, most people would say this is a really good thing. I would prefer a gloss neck. I just think if you're getting a boutique-y fancy guitar, like get like full tilt, get the most beautiful fancy. So for me, I would rather have a gloss neck on the sides. Also wouldn't hate if this guitar was a 12 fret, if it was a slot headstock. But this guitar, as it sits, I would swap the tuners. I would, maybe do it without a pickguard. I don't know. That's just me, stylistically, preferentially. So let's talk about this. If you're in the market, if you were looking for a handmade guitar, North American made guitar, I think that Boucher, for anybody, has to be in their top 3 to 5 options. I used to think that Husson Dalton and Boucher were really similar. Husson Dalton's really close to me. They're only maybe 30 miles down the road for me. I think that, nothing against Husson Dalton, but I think Boucher is in vertical climb. Every guitar I've played over the last 3 years of theirs has been markedly better than the ones before. None have been slouches. And so I think if you're looking for a modern OM style guitar, there really is nothing quite like this in the same price range. There are some comps. Husson Dalton, the TOM, maybe a Collings, but Collings has gotten so expensive. You could find other guitars, but there is nothing that, by the time when you consider the fact of just the quality of the materials, this grade of Adirondack spruce top that is torrified, with Brazilian mahogany back and sides, with an ebony bridge and ebony fingerboard, with the rim that they are using to make these guitars that makes them the most lively, effervescent, and resonant acoustic guitars, there kind of is nothing. So to me, I continue to give these glowing reviews. This is a guitar, if I'm honest, like I really love mahogany guitars. This one, I'm kind of on the bubble. Like, I could talk myself into it. I would love it. I'd be absolutely excited. It's also quite redundant in the realm. Like, my Paget Model 1 is so similar to this. I personally, I'm saving up. I'm buying a Boucher, and so that's the whole thing. So, like, I know we're talking about it right now. I'm going to get a Heritage Goose, an HG56. So, 12 fret, slot headstock, hum, and hum. Oh my gosh. I go to bed, sleep, thinking about this guitar. So anyway, I think I can't recommend Bouchers more highly. I think if you're looking for a modern boutique, I can't recommend these guitars highly enough. If you're looking for a modern OM, I think that this is the guitar of the future. This is the guitar for this moment. This is the guitar to get now and grow old with and figure out what dozens of songs are inside this thing. And man, there's no way that this thing doesn't fill the world with music and friendship and fill you with new music that bubbles out into making new friends. So thanks for watching this video. I'm Jeremy. This is the Boucher Studio Goose. This is good googly moogly. I'm into this thing. Oh, one thing I would swap. I wouldn't have a strap button. I would have an end pin so that when I put a pickup in this guitar, it's ready to go.